We asked 1,000 people to rate their attractiveness from 1 to 10. I hope they compare of how much people say they think they're attractive, and then ask other people about that same person how much they think they're attractive, and compare the stuff. There's a lot of angles you can go with this.
On a scale from 1 to 10. We have asked 1,000 people this exact question, but there's a problem. Most people,
especially women, are most likely, not most likely, 100% are gonna way overestimate their looks. Especially younger women.
Asked on camera will say,
I'm a 10. All of us are a 10.
All of us are a 10. I'm already right. 10 seconds in.
Wait a minute.
So we wanted to find a way to get real honest answers. That's why we created our anonymous survey, asking 1,000 people to rate their appearance as honestly as possible from 1 to 10. To get real results, we also reminded them to keep in mind that a 5 out of 10 is the average score and not bad at all.
That's what I've been saying all this time. A 5 out of 10 is average. A lot of people see a 7 out of 10 as average. What? A 7 out of 10 should be above average good looking guy or girl. An 8 out of 10 should be a model almost. Not a model, but a very good looking person. And 9s and 10s should be like models, like attractive AF. Like the higher or lower you get, the less people are there. You know why? That's what they're called, above or below, in extremes.
We then collected each person's age and gender, so we could compare the different groups later. And finally, for reference, we also asked
why do I take this so serious?
To rate this person in the photo from 1 to 10, which will play an important role later in the video. After collecting data for about 2 months, we finally hit the goal of 1,000 participants. And the results were so much different from all the public street interviews you always see. Out of exactly 589 men and 411 women, the most common answer, as you might have guessed, was 7 out of 10. Nearly 20% of all participants.
Yeah, but where is this? In what country is this? Are they from all over the world? Like, if we're focusing from people all over the world, there's gonna be people rating themselves differently, and there's gonna be people rating others differently. If we're focusing on one part of the world, like obviously what we're mostly interested in, the western part of the world, the US, Canada, UK, Western, Europe, it's gonna be much more different. If we're asking people in certain ages, you know what I mean.
Picked this number. For many, it's probably the safe zone. Not arrogant, but above average. On the other hand, 98 people called themselves exactly average by rating themselves a 5 out of 10. And then there's the bottom of the scale. 45 people gave themselves the lowest possible score, 1 out of 10. Most of them were men, by the way. More on that later. Now,
obviously.
Let's look at the opposite side. 71 people gave themselves a perfect 10. That means mostly 7% of the 1,000 participants believe they are basically the most attractive of them all. The rest of the scores are spread out in the middle range, resulting in an average score of 6.3 out of 10. In total, 678 participants gave themselves a 6 or higher. That means nearly
I told you guys, most people are gonna rank themselves a 7. Okay? And if we're being honest, most people are not 7s. Okay? 7 is very nice. Like, I fucking wish I was a 7. My face is not a 7. My face is a 4. Okay? And I'm balding. And well, no, I'm not bald right now, but my hairline is receding. My hair is rare. I'm gonna be bald one day. Maybe I'll get a hair transplant. Who knows? But face-wise, it's not the best. I do train, I do work out. I have like a little bit above average muscle size, but I'm fat right now. I'm not lean. Like, you don't have to have a six-pack. But when it comes to like being attractive as a guy to most women, just being lean enough. You don't have to have a 4-pack even. Just have a lean stomach and not be overly skinny or overly fat. Like that's
20% of people think they are better looking than average, which is mathematically impossible, but psychologically totally expected. A study from the University of Southampton, England, actually gave this behavior a name: the self-enhancement effect. It's a tendency to overestimate your own qualities, especially regarding attractiveness.
I'd give this guy, his hairline is awesome. His eyebrows are fine. My eyebrows are fucking amazing, by the way. And I think his face symmetry is fine. It doesn't look fat. It doesn't look overly skinny. It's just the hair. It's just cut out the sides, get some nice fading. Just, you know, fade it a little bit, make it nice, and maybe grow the hair a little bit up, push it in the back, or he can just cut it short, and it's gonna look amazing. I
But
wish I could
theory
do those
aside,
kinds
we
of
wanted to
hairstyles,
test
but I
this
can't
directly.
because
That's why every participant also had to rate the attractiveness of the reference
I'd
person
give
being
him a
included.
6.
As you can see, his
Or a
ratings
7.
were all
6, 7.
over the place. 18 people gave him a 1 out of 10, while 59 others gave him a 10. On average, he received a 5.8 out of 10. And
This makes much more sense. Like, this does actually make much more sense. I'd take a little bit more people from the 9s and 10s and put them in the 8s and 7s. This, I think, makes a lot of sense.
if you paid attention, you might have noticed something
Much more
that's
realistic.
lower than the average self-rating of our participants.
5.8.
In fact, 654 participants out of 1000 rated themselves higher than they rated their reference person. That's
Who's surprised? I also wish he had like radio buttons that shows, hey, what's my age, what's my gender, and which country am I from. I wish he did all that stuff. Maybe he
who
did.
think they are more attractive than him. To put this into perspective, we had the face of our reference person professionally analyzed. We will spare you the full report, but it's linked in the description. We concluded that the sample person rates somewhere between a 6.0 and a 6.1. That means statistically he should be more attractive than about 70% of participants. But in reality, our participants thought it was exactly the other way around, proving that the self-enhancement effect was very much present in our small experiment. But the
Yup.
ratings of the reference person
agree.
also revealed something else that's really important. Looks are incredibly subjective. 18 people rated him a 1 out of 10, while 59 others gave him a 10, believing he
Whoa. 59 rated him a 10? Those people were feeling generous.
is one of the most
If he's a
attractive
10,
people
I'm
out
a
there.
fucking
You simply
8.
can't be everyone's type. And honestly, you're not supposed to be. No matter how you look, there will always be someone out there that sees you as a perfect 10 out of 10, even if 999 others don't. Okay,
Yeah.
what's also really interesting is the differences.
But we're talking in general right now. Like, we are comparing it to the average person, what most people would find mostly attractive or unattractive. Not one outlier, but like, we're not talking about outliers here,
between
man. Come on.
female and male participants. We had exactly 589 male participants with an average score of 5.9 out of 10, and 411 female participants averaging a score of
7.
6.9 out of 10. But here's
Yep.
where the results completely surprised us. Out of the male participants, only 28 rated themselves a perfect 10 out of 10. In contrast, 43 female participants also gave themselves a perfect score. In relation, that means
one's
just
surprised.
5% of men rated themselves at the very top, while over 10% of women did the same, meaning that they were more than twice
Now compare how many of these were young people above, let's say, below a certain age, and how many of those young men, how many of those young females rated them high as fuck.
as likely as men to rate themselves a perfect 10. Additionally, the total average score of the woman was also nearly 1 whole point higher. And we're not alone with this finding. A 2018 study titled "Almost Every Woman Thinks She's Hotter Than Average," yes, that's the actual title, found that 94% of women believe they are more attractive than the average woman. But
Wait, let me read this.
the actual title found that 94% of women believe
A random woman will also consider herself as being better looking than a hypothetical average woman in 94% of cases, compared to 78% of even 78 is high as fuck. Like, even men are holy shit, people, god damn. Like, being humble and being attractive. What happened with all that stuff? Like, is being humble not attractive anymore?
than the
Or
average
realistic,
woman.
that's-
But why?
which is
the
more
most common
important here,
theory
right?
explaining this phenomenon is called
Realistic.
the social feedback loop.
Fuck what I
Women
said.
usually tend to get way more positive feedback and praise about their looks. This kind of overly positive feedback, combined with the self-enhancement effect, could explain the significant differences in 10 out of 10 ratings we saw in our experiment between male and female participants. But how about the lowest score? In total, 45
This
people
makes so
rated
much
themselves
sense.
a 1 out of 10, which statistically
Like,
speaking
just think about it. A lot of women are much better than at taking pictures, and they edit those pictures a lot. And most women are more focused on their skin, obviously, right? And I'm saying that men should also be focused on skincare. But also, men aren't that good at taking pictures. And when they do take pictures and it's, let's say it's okay, and they upload it on whatever social platform, they don't edit it as much. So it's both in male and female brains. They're all skewed thinking that females are much more attractive than they are.
speaking is also pretty unrealistic. But here's the really interesting part.
Mostly
of those
on average.
45 people, 34 were men and only 11 were women. Even in relation, that means that men are twice as likely to rate themselves at the very bottom. But again, why? It might have a lot to do with body image pressure. The fitness industry, Instagram aesthetics, and the whole high-value male culture constantly push the idea that you need to be tall.
The main difference between the, let's say, the looks content on every social media platform when it comes to men, it's always skincare, dress like this, and gym, and do it, and fucking do it, and this, and that, and holy shit, if your hair is like mine, you're fucked, and all this stuff. And when it comes, and they make you work. When it comes to female stuff, all of them are always, you're a 10. You always look amazing. You're great. You're beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. All women are beautiful. Not all men are beautiful. And
shredded,
this is why.
With a perfect face, or you don't measure up. And while women often tend to get more external validation and compliments, men sadly tend to suffer in silence. Which might explain why so many guys in our survey felt like they were at the bottom, even when that's statistically and visually not even close to the truth. Okay, you might remember that we also asked the participants to give us their age, just to see if there are any differences.
I didn't see this. I really didn't see this.
Expect the results to be so drastically different. We divided the participants into 3 age groups: 15 to 20 years old, 21 to 30 years old, and 31 years and older. Can you guess which group had the highest average score? The lowest.
I mean, he already said it. I wanted to guess it, but he already
group,
said it.
being just 5.2 out of 10. In the middle, we have the 21 to 30 year olds, averaging a 6.1 out of 10. And the 31 years and older scored the highest average at 7.3 out of 10. As you might have noticed, the older the participants were, the higher they rated themselves. But why is that?
What? I was expecting the opposite. What? The older you are, the more attractive you think you are? Okay.
Younger generations have grown up in a world where every face is filtered and every body retouched. Everything is just a highlight reel from someone else's life, not reality. And over time, that destroys your self-image. The younger you are, the more you tend to compare your looks to others. But as people get older, looks usually play a smaller role in how we see ourselves. Confidence starts to come from other things, like caring for people you love. So that concludes.
Maybe what people see as a beautiful looking man at, let's say, the age of 35 is different to what a woman at the age of 21 sees what a beautiful looking man is, right? I don't fucking know.
We've been running over the past 3 months. If you appreciate the work and time we put into this, then please leave a like and subscribe. Take care, bye.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I was pretty surprised by that. I was expecting much more younger folks to rate themselves higher, but you know what, I can see it. Plus, the age ranges were skewed. Again, I see a lot of flaws in a lot of studies, but it's a study. It can never be 100% perfect, and I'm not bashing all these people doing all these studies. It was an amazing, interesting study, I think. But maybe if they rearrange the ages to like 35 plus, and then to from 50 plus, 20 to 35, like maybe that would be much different, because 31 plus, that's a lot of people. That's many more ages than just 19 to 25, right? Like, come on. All in all, pretty interesting video, pretty interesting study. Tell me what you think in the comments. What's your experience with people rating themselves depending on their, gender and age? Have a nice day. Take care, and you're not a 10 out of 10 until you subscribe. Then you're a 10 out of 10.